What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark, MyMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And today, I've got some rumors, and we're gonna get into them. I've heard some rumors. We're gonna talk about them and unearth the rumors. This is a 2024 film. It's directed by Guy Maddin and produced by Ari Aster. So, all you Ari Aster fans out there, what up? Welcome. You should be watching this because Ari took the time out of his life to slap his name on it. Um, and although I've heard plenty of people impressed with Guy Maddin's previous work as well and interested in the film simply because of him. It has a pretty solid cast. You've got Academy Award winner Cate Blanchett, Alicia Vikander, Charles Dance. Uh, you know, it's it's a nice cast to it as well. It opens up. I did watch this with audio description. It was not presented to me. It was submitted for my consideration, but it was not presented to me with audio description. So, but I knew that it was on iTunes with audio description, so I just went ahead and rented it. So I took a. This is the life. Sometimes I get screeners and then I still have to. It's like if I know that there's audio description, I just go ahead and fuck it. So, didn't really save me any time. It's Bleecker Street. Um, so yeah, it's an satire is hard. Satire is hard. It's threading a needle. It is. It's tough to really get it perfectly. And sometimes you benefit from having a little bit of a wider eye in the needle. That's what we all hope for. Sometimes that eye is just really thin. And this opened with like a thank you to the G7 summit, because this film takes place at a G7, so I guess like they're saying like thank you for consulting or giving us information or something. I think it's complete bullshit because I can't imagine this is how an actual G7 summit runs. But it's somebody's interpretation of a G7 summit. So the G7 in this film is being held in Germany, and world leaders convey from the 7 countries. Can I list all of them? United States, Canada, UK, Germany, France, Italy, and Japan are all the ones that are here. I believe that's right. And so they're all there to talk and to come up with ideas and like a think tank. And I mean, weird shit starts happening at the top. I mean, there are these weird bog body things that Cate Blanchett, she's hosting. She's plays the German chancellor, and she's she's talking about these bog bodies that where somehow because of the way that they're buried, it preserves the skin, but the bones are gone. So they're just these like squishy. It sounds really gross. I was like, immediately that's when you're like, okay, so this is gonna be a horror movie. It's a horror satire. I kind of knew that going in because it kind of brands itself as like apocalyptic satire. Um, and various things happen throughout this film. This film throws constant loops at you. But the funny thing is, the satire doesn't always land. They go for some jokes that work. They go for some jokes that don't. They go for some jokes that I think will work for people like that you may not even understand. Like there's some jokes that I was like, I don't even get it. Like, did we just make a joke? And then so I'm sure like somebody else, like if I had been in a crowded theater, there would have been some guy in the back, who would have laughed and been like, ha ha ha, I get that. Ha ha ha. It's one of those, it's it's like too smart for a wide audience at times. Um, Often broad comedy works really well, and when you get into satire, it has to be really well written, has to be really well executed in order to come out just right. Um, and sometimes you get excellent satire of a situation, and sometimes you get close to it. Like for me, Veep, for example, is what I would consider to be sort of excellent satire as a TV show. I realize it's not a film, but it really does have sort of a lot of nuance to it about political machinations and a lot of ideas, and it's successful in what it does. Um, this had me a little bit more like Death of Stalin, where I thought there were a lot of good ideas. Not everything landed with me, but the thing about Rumors is that it leans horror. So it also has these like weird plot elements. Like Death of Stalin is played sort of straightforward, and then you have to work the satire sort of around it. It's not really played like a horror movie. It certainly isn't played with these weird bog zombie things. And or how about the giant brain that's in this? I guess that's a spoiler, but I don't know. This film has so many weird things in it that's just like, what are we doing here? The funnier moment is when because like everybody's disappeared and they're just down to the 7 leaders, like all of their servants and everybody have all disappeared, and that's how they know shit's gone wrong. It's because everybody's missing and nobody's there to help them or serve them. They don't have any assistants anymore. But later on in the film, because none of their cell phones work, they get a text message, and it's from a bot, but it's from, as Cate Blanchett explains, from a predator bot. They have these text messages, and so I guess the Prime Minister of Canada fits the profile of a child predator. She says she's like, yes, people in power, we fit the profile, and he's like, yeah, but why me? Like, it's just like he's so confused, and I thought that was really funny. Is just the idea that some AI device has targeted you for being. It really just makes you think, like, what have I done wrong with my life? And they're like, wait a minute, if you flirt with it, it'll alert the authorities, and the authorities will come rescue us. And he's like, wait a minute, but it also could just be a little girl that is, so like they're not 100% sure, but yet they're like, but you should flirt with it, but not too much, because if it is a real girl, we don't want to traumatize her. I thought that was that was funny, because they're trying to debate about using this ridiculous technology, and meanwhile the Prime Minister of Canada is like, why me? So that worked for me. And I kind of wanted more of that. I kind of wanted more poked at these leaders. There's sort of an excellent speech that's given that makes absolutely no sense. That was funny. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's satire is hard, and it feels very hit and miss, and it's kind of like Death of Stalin to me was. It like not everything hit. Some things did. Some things hit really well. Other times I was sitting there going, that didn't work. It's just, I think everybody's going to have a different experience with Rumors, and the fact that we've leaned horror here and decided to throw in some horror elements is going to make it really specific to people who also are willing to watch bog bodies eventually. That they're going to do something with it. I don't even have to spoil that. It's like, once we're introduced, it's such a weird thing to just Cate Blanchett's like touring the facilities and be like, oh, by the way, have you ever heard of bog bodies? Let's go look at one. It's like, well, this is definitely going to come into play later, so yeah, it was okay. Like I'm not, I'm intrigued by, I guess, Guy Maddin and some of his other works, and I would see more of his things now. He's the one that's getting most of the film people, although IMDb has more directors listed on this than just him, but it seems to be he's the one that other people who have seen his work are excited about. So I'm just going to keep pretending that this film was directed by one person, like some other people are. IMDb is just crazy, I guess. So yeah, that's That's Rumors. The audio description on it was okay. I like the narrator's voice. She frequently works with uh, companies that don't provide great audio description, so the writing could always be better. Like the actual depth of description could have been better here in terms of the bog bodies and the horror elements of this, and just leaning into it a little bit more. Um, but you know, I I wish her the best. Like I think she's a much better narrator than than the company she tends to work for. So, but that's that. So, um, I'm gonna give Rumors. I'm gonna give Rumors a B minus. Like it didn't fully work for me, but it didn't like not work for me. But also, my grade is useless because I'm telling you, this film is gonna, for some people, this is the best film they've seen this year, and for other people, total F. It'll be the worst film they've seen this year because of the way that it's written and the way that it lands. It'll land with everybody differently. So satire is really hard. It is it's hard to get it right, which is why whenever you hear something that has any sort of universal praise at all, like there are people who hate Veep. So when you hear anything that has any sort of broad universal praise, it's almost like it's such a huge success for that form to do satire. Um, Monty Python arguably did it pretty well too in their forms too. So when you hear people talking about it, it feels almost like this, like, wow, like I can't believe this happened, because for every satire that works, there's 5 that didn't. So it's a really hard genre to dip your toes into. So I'd be interested to know if Guy Madden is doing that all the time and seeing his previous works. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.